Welcome back, everyone. We have a lot to talk about: tariff deal, Trump immigration policies, Tesla stock, the job reports, and stock market in general. So first thing first, let's talk about Trump's tariff deal that he recently closed with Vietnam. This deal was amazing, according to the Wall Street. As per Wall Street, after closing this deal, so many consumer products are going to be tariffed. However, it's not going to affect consumers, and I'll explain that in a little bit. So Trump has closed a deal with Vietnam, whereas Trump is going to charge 20% on all the imports that are coming into the US. And Trump is addicted to the tariff revenue. He's looking forward to accumulating that money. And when the 20% deal was closed, right after that, Nike and Adidas and some of those consumer stocks went up. And then shortly after that, when they realized that maybe this deal may not be the best deal, they kind of, the growths, the hype kind of slowed down. And I'll explain why. There are lots of products that are being produced in Vietnam. For example, Nike, Adidas, Lululemon, so many of the other consumer products that we consume on a daily basis. And here's the explanation of why Wall Street was excited, but then it was not excited right after that. So 20% deal is, 20% tariff is going to be on the consumer products that are being produced in Vietnam, but only the amount that Vietnam is charging on the production part of it. So for example, if you buy Lululemon leggings, which cost, let's say, $100, and let's say the production cost of that Lululemon in Vietnam is $35. So the tariff is going to be charged on that $35, the actual manufacturing cost of that Lululemon leggings. If the store is selling, if the Lululemon store website is selling them for $100, the less $65 is not tariffed. So what does that mean? It's basically about 5%, so 20% of that $35 will be roughly $5. So if you're or $7. So let's say it's 7% is going to be the tariff on that on that $100 Lululemon leggings. Are they going to increase the price? Does that mean that the price of those particular leggings is going to go up 7%? In normal circumstances, yes, but in this economy, no, because we all know the economy is struggling. Consumers are not spending as much money as they would otherwise in the very hyped up economy, because everybody is afraid of recession. I'm not afraid of recession, but so many analysts of the Wall Street are of the opinion that there will be recession coming, or there is a chance of recession coming. So having said that, Lululemon will not raise the price of their products. So who eats up that cost eventually? The 7%. Obviously the production price inflation will go up. So the consumer price inflation will not go up. And guess what the Fed looks at? Fed does not care about the PPI, the production price index inflation. Rather, they only care about the CPI, the consumer price inflation. So in the short run, it looks like the market is going to go parabolic because of this, or some of the stocks that are whose products is being manufactured in the Vietnam. Because the prices don't go up, we have revenue coming, and that's a good sign for the stock. For example, Nike, Lululemon, Adidas, all those. But in the long run, though federal government does not look at the PPI index, or the production price inflation, they only care about the CPI, because that's what determines how bad the economy is doing. Because if consumer prices are going up, that means the consumers are going to be prone to buying less products. So in the short run, it looks like the economy is doing great. Everybody is happy. Prices are not going up. Inflation is not going up, and Fed will cut the rates. Whereas after 6, 7, 8 months, maybe 2 quarters roughly, it's going to show an impact of that inflated cost that production price is going to absorb. And that's where the danger of recession may hit, if that. So that was one of the things that was very hot today, and as a result, markets started going up because this is going to lead to other deals being closed on tariffs. And I guess that's why market is very, very enthusiastic about it. That okay, when we have one done, we can get so many other done at the same time. And because the deal was not as bad as initially, Trump was kind of threatening all the countries that he's going to impose 50%, 100%, 150% tariff on the imports. Now it's going down to maybe 10, 12, 20%, 25%, the highest. And that kind of shows, like, it opens up a door to all the other deals to be closed. Federal Reserve we had a job report. That's the next thing I want to talk about. The job report actually came out pretty good. The JOLTS data that came out was actually very good. It was better than it was expected, and that kind of made market very enthusiastic and happy. Investors are thrilled, and they're putting money into the stock market. We know there's still lots of money sitting on the sideline, and people are waiting for these tariff deals to close, some of the geopolitical situations to be more under control and more stable. And also, they're just waiting to kind of play safe at this moment. Maybe after the second quarter's earning report, I think, or some of the more CPI and PPI reports when they come up, I think investors are going to be more confident to invest into the market. Next thing I want to talk about is Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell was asked if he is going to cut rates in July. There's 25 basis points rate cut in July. It went from 0 to 1% to 5%, 10, now it's up to 25%. When Jerome Powell was asked this question, he said, well, 25% basis points rate cut in July is not completely off the table, but as always, he is data dependent, whereas September rate cut is almost a 95% chance of September rate cut. So the market is pricing in definitely September rate cut, and there are going to be 6 or 7 rate cuts within 1 year period. With that news, market started going up. Yesterday when this was announced, the market didn't seem to be very happy about it. And a friend of mine was asking me, isn't like when there's a hope for rate cuts, the market goes up? And I said, it's kind of weird when the rate cut is announced, the lower rates don't make the market go higher. When the rates are cut, then the new money is printed. And if you haven't watched my videos, please watch my video on banking, currency, and finance. I talk about fiat currency and how the money is created and what are the impacts of the fiat currency. So anyways, back to my topic. So when the rate cut is announced, or when the Fed starts cutting rate, the new money is printed, because then they dilute the currency, the fiat money, and they will basically flood that money into the economy. And then when people have excessive amount of money that they can borrow at a lower interest rate because it's cheaper money is available, then people will invest that money into the stock market, and all that inflow of cheaper money into the stock market will raise the demand of certain or all equities, and as a result, the share prices will go up because there's a demand is higher, and it will increase the share price. It's demand and supply. And that's what causes the market to go up. So that's why market gets very enthusiastic, because when the rate cut is announced, all those people who are waiting on the sideline, they will go ahead and start buying shares, because they understand as soon as the rates are lower, people will borrow more money because they can get margins at a cheaper price. People even borrow home equities and they invest into the stock market. All these big institutions are always borrowing money, and that's how they invest that money into the market, and they make money off of it. So as soon as the cheaper money is available, Fed will start its printer on, and then institutions and everyday consumer will go ahead and start borrowing money. They'll start, getting their margins or using their margins at a cheaper price, and then they'll invest in the market. And once all that money inflows into the stock market, that makes the market go parabolic. So at this point, Wall Street is expecting or pricing in absolutely September rate cut. There's 95% chance of September rate cut. July rate cut is not 100% off the table, the words of Jerome Powell, but there's only 25 to 27% chances that there will be a 25 basis points rate cut in July. Also, we heard that Trump may be replacing Jerome Powell earlier than expected. We know that he still has a term, one-year term left, and his term isn't over until next June or July, I believe. But Trump is thinking about, I don't know how true that rumor is, if it's just a rumor, that's a real news, I couldn't confirm that, but it looks like lots of people are of the opinion that Trump may replace Jerome Powell sooner than we expected, which was next year. So if that happens, that could also be a bullish for stock market, because we all know that Trump has been asking Jerome Powell to cut rates, but Jerome Powell has been pretty stubborn and he's been saying, no, I'm data dependent, which I don't blame him for, because there has been time in the past when the Fed chairman was reducing the rates, then they will raise the rate, then they will pause the rate, and they lost credibility completely. It's not that people trust Federal Reserve right now, they don't, but trust me, it was worse 20 years ago than it is now, or 25 years ago than it is now. So Jerome Powell doesn't want to lose that credibility, and that's why he's taking his time, because once he starts cutting the rate, he doesn't want to pause again or start raising rate again, because that will just destroy his reputation, period. So that's why he's not, taking Trump's advice in cutting the rates. But in my personal opinion, in my humble opinion, I think it's time that he should start thinking about it seriously, because there's no chance of recession. The recession is not coming, and I've been saying it for almost a year now. All these Wall Street analysts have been speaking about recession coming, recession coming. I don't know what economics did they study, because when I look at the data, when I look at the job reports, when I look at the CPI reports, when I look at the consumer, everyday consumer, and when I look at the earning calls and listen to the earning calls of all these big companies, the consumer products selling companies, it looks like there's no recession anywhere that I see. Are consumers a little bit careful of spending money? Yes, absolutely, because people are worried because of this fear-mongering news that are always popping up on the Wall Street news channels. I guess that's why people are a little bit cautious, but I don't see people are hesitant spending money or anything like that. So having said that, market is pretty enthusiastic, pretty excited, because they're looking forward to the rate cuts, and they know that the second part of the year is going to be amazing and they're going to make lots of money. Now let's talk about the immigration policy that Trump has announced. So I was reading a news yesterday that anybody who has become a citizen through the naturalization process could be deported for any reason. And the reasons could be felony, misdemeanor, if you have committed some kind of Medicaid, Medicare fraud, the food stamp fraud, or if you have lied on your immigration documents, if you have lied at jobs, if you have lied about your income. Let's say, for example, if you're working under the table, I know there are lots of people who are legal in this country, but they work under the table on cash because they just don't want to pay taxes. So if the government finds out about it, and the Immigration Department of Justice finds out about it, they will deport you, no matter even if you are a citizen. If you are a citizen by birth, then they don't deport you, they punish you. But if you have gone through the naturalization process, which means you were an immigrant into this country through legal process, like I came from Pakistan. My uncle had sponsored my mother, and I came with my mother when I was very young. So that was a legal, proper channel of having your relatives migrate to USA. So it was an immigration status that we acquired after being here for 5 years and filing our taxes, etc. We went for an interview and we became citizens, and then we got our blue passport. So if you have gone through all that naturalization process and you were not born here and you're not a citizen by birth, and if you're committing any of those crimes, you could be deported. And then there any of these are not limited to these, So for example, it's not like you're doing those frauds now. Even if you have done that in the past before you became a citizen, and they find out about it, they will still deport you, which is, I think, kind of going to the next level of punishing. Some people will make an argument like, well, don't commit a don't make any, don't break the law, period. I understand that, don't break the law. But you know, if somebody's working under the table, that's not a crime that should be punished by deporting them. The people who have settled in this country, they have their life here, they have their families and children, their businesses, and they have their jobs and homes and all that, and lots of commitments in this country. I don't think they should be deported. Punishment, sure, they can be punished because they should not break the law. That's, you know, the discussion that we can have separate. So those of you who are doing any kind of Medicaid, Medicare lies, because I know some people, or I've heard, not that I know anybody, I've heard that some people, they have large businesses and they're lying about their income and they're still depending on the social services, for example, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamp, they're utilizing that and they're not declaring their income at their full capacity. And if the government finds out about it, they will deport you. And I didn't know what deportation was meant. I thought deporting means sending me back to my home country. And I was actually talking to my husband a few days ago and I was like, why don't they ever deport us? They're deporting everybody. How come they don't deport me? And my daughter said to me, Mama, you don't want to be deported. I said, why not? I'll be happy to go to Pakistan. And she said, well, that's the problem. They don't send you to Pakistan. They can send you wherever they want to. And deportation means they separate the families. They don't keep them together. For example, we're your children, we were born here, we'll stay here, but they will deport you. And then even you and daddy will not be together. And then they won't send you to Pakistan, they will send you to wherever in South Africa or I don't know, North America or wherever they choose to. And then they punish you, they put you in jail. It's not like they, okay, here's your airplane ticket and you go back to your home country. And I was like, oops, dang it. That's not what I was wishing for. I was thinking more like, okay, send me back to my homeland. I have a country where I belong. I wouldn't mind living there, you know. But anyway, deportation is bad, and that's a punishment that I think that's just an extreme, and they should not be. But that's just me. Obviously, Trump is Trump. He can come up with whatever. And these are not the only crimes which they're talking about. It's actually anything the Department of Justice or FBI thinks that they can punish you in the form of deportation. It's just like their call. They make a decision. Okay, they have some complaint about you. Let's say you deceived someone for $100. I'm just making a random example. And FBI or Department of Justice thinks, well, you know, this person has been deceiving people here. Let's deport them. And you are a naturalized citizen. They have the right to do so. So basically, it could be anything small to anything big, and you could have the same punishment, which I think is kind of they're going overboard with this whole deportation and immigration policies that they're changing. That is going to cause a lot of chaos in the country. But of course, Trump likes chaos. So that's one of the things that really bothered me. And this, I'm just letting all those people know out there who watch my channel. If you are an immigrant and you are a citizen by the process of naturalization, and you are involved into any of these activities or any activities, period, which you think you should not be involved in, be very careful and stop it now, because you could be in big trouble. So I guess moving back to Pakistan, I don't know. Who knows, they could just come up with any nonsense thing and say, well, you know, we found this and this about you and you can go back to, and we're going to deport you. You never know with these people, with these politicians, anything is possible. So just be on the high alert, be careful, be cautious, and be ready for it as well. Next thing I want to talk about is Elon Musk and Trump. Trump has threatened Elon Musk to charge him the subsidy on his business more than he has ever charged anybody in the history of America. He said he's going to charge him 25% or 50% subsidy, and then he said he can close his shop and go back to, I think, South Africa or South America, I don't know, something like that. I read like a whole paragraph that Trump has said about Elon Musk. And right after that threat that Trump has made to Elon Musk, Tesla stock dropped 6% yesterday. But today it went up because their delivery reports came up and they have kind of nailed it. So that's why the stock was up, which was very hopeful for Tesla stock. My friend called me yesterday and she said, oh my God, Tesla is doomed. I said, Tesla is not doomed. It's just these two guys need to stop bickering and they need to sit down on the table and talk and get it out of their system, and then, you know, have a peaceful agreement with each other, and I think it'll be fine. And this morning, thank God, um, it proved me right that Tesla deliveries are doing well compared to what market was expecting, and as a result, Tesla stock ran up quite a bit, about 4.5% this morning, which was amazing. So what's my thought on Tesla? I think Tesla is, you guys know, I'm very bullish on Tesla. It's going to be amazing. $400. My price prediction is, for the end of the year. It could be higher than that, but definitely $400 towards the end of the year. If they announce something big and their earning report is good, it could even reach 450, 500, but definitely $400. Just keep your eyes on it and see what goes on. If you watched my video a week and a half ago, I said when the Uber stock was at $82, and I told everybody this is a very good time to buy Uber stock. The next day, Uber stock ran. It went all the way up to 90, then 92, and then 94, and then they went down a little bit, and now it's at 94 again. But then in the afternoon today, it dropped to $92. But the point is, that was a very good buying point because it had reversed from the selling, and then it was gonna go up after that because it had lots of good news which they announced. And the price rating has also gone up on Tesla. So I'm sorry, on Uber. So Uber is the highest price rating is, I think, $102. So I'm looking forward to Uber hitting that $102 mark. And then of course, after that, it's gonna sell a little bit unless the market analysts raise their price target to more than $102 and they make some other announcements, which I know Uber has been pretty good with their shareholders. They always make announcements which boost the enthusiasm of the shareholder, and it does raise the share price as well. So investors are pretty happy with Uber. Investors are pretty happy with Tesla as well, especially Dan Ives of Wedbush. He said it's going to be double in 10 days. And I made a video on it, and I said 10 days is like a little pushing it. Maybe towards the end of the year, it could be double, but not in 10 days, after the robo-taxi event, because Tesla is always on the news, and Tesla stock trades like momentum stock and like meme stocks. It goes up pretty quickly, but it comes down even faster. So if you're a day trader or swing trader, be very careful of it. If you're a long-term investor, then I think you're okay. Not a personalized financial advice. All right, that's that. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin hit $112,000 about a month and a half ago, I think in mid-May, that's when it was. And I made a video and I said once Bitcoin hits $110,000, it's going to drop. It hit $112,000, then it dropped below $100,000. And now, today, Bitcoin was at $110,000 again. I think this push was to break that level of 110K that I hit last time, and then maybe go it further higher to 150. The market analysts are expecting it to go towards $150,000, and then beyond that, maybe up to $200,000 and $250,000 towards the end of the year. MicroStrategy holds, the financial institutions hold about 42% of the Bitcoin. And of that 42%, MicroStrategy holds about 28% of that 42%. So MicroStrategy is still leading in accumulating of Bitcoin. And they're constantly accumulating, which is why since Trump started talking about Bitcoin, lots of the institutions are very comfortable starting a position in Bitcoin, because if you watch my videos regularly, I did talk about it, that these institutions or hedge funds and ETFs, they have to keep their clients happy. So they don't buy stock which they cannot justify why they have such a asset in their portfolio which is so volatile, and they have to be able to provide a justification. With Trump coming in and making it sound like that he is pro cryptocurrency and he's going to regulate it and all that good stuff, I think institutions are very comfortable at least starting a position, and the few who already had a position, they're very happy to increase their position. And MicroStrategy, being the leader in this industry of cryptocurrency, he is accumulating constantly. Michael Saylor, sorry, of MicroStrategy has been accumulating constantly, and he still holds 28, little over 28% of that 45% of the institutional holding, and the rest is obviously held by, the retail traders like you and I. Bitcoin, if you watch my videos regularly, I have been saying that I'm very bullish on it. Towards the end of this year, it could reach $200,000 to $250,000 mark. That's what the Wall Street is talking about now, and it's making retailers very enthusiastic, making the stock market very enthusiastic about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general. Actually, Tom Lee has just initiated a new kind of it's not a new business, but he became the head chairperson of the business, and he's going to accumulate Ethereum, and he wants to make that company the MicroStrategy of Ethereum, whereas MicroStrategy is a MicroStrategy of Bitcoin. As a result, if the Ethereum goes up, which people are hoping that it will go up to $6,000 towards the end of the year, just like MicroStrategy, his company is also going to be very high, and that stock has been running. The ticker symbol for that stock is BMNR, and that stock ran from $4 to all the way up to $75. I did make some money off of it. Usually I don't play volatile stocks like this, but I bought it at $14 and I went all the way up to $30, and then I sold it and then I bought it back again, and I'm still holding a little bit of it. So if you were in that stock, congratulations, you made some money. I think that stock is gonna go even higher. Right now it had its initial run because Tom Lee is backing it. People respect him, people like him, people trust him. And also after seeing what Michael Saylor has done to MicroStrategy, they're happy that Tom Lee can bring the company to the same level. And it's going to be one of those largest cryptocurrency holders, and the stock is going to be very strong stock, and people are very bullish on it. So that's that. So cryptocurrency, and having said that, cryptocurrency in general has been doing very well. All of these coins, stable coins, and Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and all these coins are going higher and higher every day. So people are very bullish. Retailers are getting excited. If you had bought Bitcoin when it dropped to $77,000, you would have been already 40% roughly in profit right now on Bitcoin. So even now, it's not a bad time, not a personalized financial advice. If you can buy a coin or two and hold them towards the end of the year, in 6 months or 7 months time period, you could double your money, which isn't bad, Next thing I want to talk about is the stock market in general and what to expect going into next week. We know this is a short week because of the 4th of July weekend. Next week, I think Trump is working on closing the tariff deals. I believe if he can close some more deals this long weekend, it'll be amazing for the stock market. We have earning reports coming up. Earning season starts very soon because now the second quarter is over. So in July, all these companies are going to start reporting their earnings. So depending on how well the earnings are, that will define the market's direction, which way it's going to go. Also in July, once we have our FOMC meeting and Jerome Powell gives us a clear signal whether he's going to cut rates or not, or when is he cutting rate, I think that is going to make the market run go parabolic. So what am I expecting going into next week? Absolutely green, bullish, crazy market. Small hiccups are always possible, and they are going to happen. Small pullbacks are healthy because when the market pulls back, new investors come in, and that's where it makes the the equities price go next all-time highs. So going into towards the end of the year, I think this year has gone by so fast. It's like already first half of the year is over, and we've already entered into the second half of the year. But it was a very roller coaster ride for me because of Trump changing his policies and his tariff nonsense and all this drama that was going on. I think it was a lot to give me stress, and I was pretty stressed out, but I stayed bullish because I knew all this is temporary, and I hope you felt the same way. But if you didn't, that's the ugly part of the stock market, that things are always unpredictable, and small tiny change in policy, small tiny news, small tiny chaos, geopolitical, whether it's national, international, it's economic, it's weather, it's some kind of a disease, everything affects the market, and it's so unpredictable, like what's going to happen tomorrow. That's why some of the day traders, they don't hold their stocks overnight, because they don't want to take a chance. They just get in, get out on daily basis, and they're happy with it, because they don't want to see that red and losing money. Whereas investors, they are more prone to taking stress, I guess. I don't know if they're prone to it. I say I can take stress very well, but I know the stress does get to me. If I keep seeing the red in my portfolio every day, it does bother me. But the good thing is that I have self-control, and I don't go ahead and start selling in panic. I hold it, and if I have cash on the sideline, I always buy on the red days. And that has given me an opportunity to accumulate so many of my favorite stocks, which I know once the market, all these tailwinds are gone, and market starts going up, I'm going to make lots of money, inshallah. I have my hopes high. So that's that. Going into next week, I'm very happy, very enthusiastic. I think market is going to be fine. Our last half part of the year is going to be wonderful, and we're going to hit all new all-time high. 6,500 to 6,700 on S&P 500 is absolutely possible. Though we know that investors are heavily invested in the stock market right now as we speak, but I think there are still people who are holding money on the sidelines, because I was reading an article a few days ago, and I don't remember how many billions of dollars are sitting in home equities which people have not invested yet. So once that money pours into the market, it's going to take the stock market to the next all-time high. That's my thought, that's my opinion. I'm still holding everything that I've been holding. Small trades that I do on daily or weekly basis. It's just small money, a couple $1,000s that I trade on. I've been moving that around a little bit, but my main portfolio has been there. I have actually accumulated some more shares of some of the stocks that had gone red quite a bit, because I'm going to dollar cost average all those, so that when they run, I can get my money, make some profit, and just get out. Not a personalized financial advice. You could do the same thing if you have a stock that you really like, or even if you don't like it, and you know that it has gone down so much, and you have a big loss, and if you think it's not going to go to zero, it's always a good idea to dollar cost average and buy more stock at cheaper price. Once they go green, once they start running, you will recover your money faster than you can just get rid of that bag that you've been holding for a long time. Give my video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Until next one, take care, stay safe, and make some money, and goodbye.